Imagine this, a place so horrific, so cruel, that its name alone strikes fear into the hearts of millions. A place known not as a prison, but as a death camp, a slaughterhouse. For decades, Sednaya prison in Syria was shrouded in secrecy, a fortress of torture where hope went to die. But just days ago, in an astonishing twist, hundreds of prisoners saw something they never dared to dream of: freedom. Over 30,000 people have died in Sednaya since the Syrian civil war began in 2011. That's not just a number, it's 30,000 lives extinguished. How? Torture, starvation, medical neglect. The very design of Sednaya was a death sentence, as per the Syrian Observatory for Human Rights, a UK-based monitor. This wasn't a place for justice. It was a weapon of fear wielded by Bashar al-Assad's regime to crush dissent. Political opponents, students, critics, anyone who dared to question the dictatorship ended up here. And for many, it was the end of their story. The prison had two main buildings. The Red Building housed civilians, teachers, journalists, protesters, while the White Building was for military personnel accused of disloyalty. But make no mistake, neither group was spared. Both buildings were equipped with execution chambers. 2 days a week, death penalties were carried out, sometimes in ways so brutal that even a military colonel fainted during a mass execution.
وصلنا 35 جثة كلهم صيدنايا جثث شايفين مشوهة مقطعة مو معروف مين حسبنا الله ونعم الوكيل.
Survivors describe the unthinkable, God forcing prisoners to kill their own cellmates. The stories are endless, each more horrific than the last. And when families finally uncovered Sednaya's secrets after Assad fled, they found decomposed bodies, blackened, dismembered, unrecognizable. Mothers and fathers tried to identify the children amid the stench of death.
محمد عادل الترك وهي اسم اخي عدنان الترك من حي الآبون. انا اخي من 11 سنه اخذينه الجويه وما عليه شيء من قدام الباب، وهلا كلياتهم جثث محروقه وجثث مقطوع راسها، وهذا النظام هذا اللي حكمنا هذا ما لقيتها.
Breaking into Sednaya wasn't easy. The prison was a fortress. 3 layers of security surrounded it, with anti-tank mines planted in the fields to deter any attack. The outermost layer, guards monitoring every vehicle, every person, and every communication coming in or out. The second layer, elite forces armed to the teeth and fiercely loyal to Assad, ready to crush any rebellion. And the third layer, guards stationed inside, watching for any signs of escape or resistance among the prisoners. Yet, the rebels who stormed Sednaya on Saturday found a way. They set fields on fire, triggering the landmines, and tore through each layer of security until they reached the prisoners. When the gates of Sednaya were finally breached, rescuers did not just find survivors, they uncovered evidence of unimaginable suffering. Families who had waited for years, hoping for news, were confronted with the brutal reality of what had happened to their loved ones. One former inmate described how guards would starve prisoners, beat them, and force them into acts of unspeakable violence against each other. The goal wasn't just to kill, it was to break every ounce of hope, every shred of humanity. Even now, as the last chapter of Sednaya is being written, its legacy of honor endures. For the survivors, freedom is just the beginning of a new battle, a battle to heal, to rebuild, and to remember. Bureau Report, India Today Global.
With the help of open source forensic application and data from Amnesty International, we have digitally reconstructed what the inside of the most dreaded prison in the world looks like in 3D. Based on the report, there are group cells where groups of prisoners are kept, and then there are solitary cells containing small group of prisoners, reportedly constructed underground. However, recent inputs from ground investigation by Syrian civilian defense organization White Helmet stated no evidence of underground secret cells. The Sednaya prison constituted 3 levels of security, including anti-tank landmines in surrounding areas and radio communication systems. Satellite images accessed from Maxar Technologies near Damascus suggest the number of graves increased significantly from 2012 to 2022. The absence of mass combat fatalities during this period made experts speculate whether the graves may contain dead prisoners of Sednaya.
Reports by human rights and advocacy groups suggest that there were well-established policies to kill prisoners. Hundreds or probably thousands of people died because of torture at Sednaya. One form of punishment was to make prisoners sleep naked on the floor in the freezing cold night, which led to many casualties. Former detainees have revealed that bodies were collected in the morning. We have accessed satellite imagery from 2018 that shows elongated objects in the compound of white building of the prison. These objects were found to be about 6 feet in length, suggesting that they could be human bodies.